Hey everyone, I'm Alex Williams and you're watching Funagain Games. In this special video, we're going to be unboxing and learning how to play the 30th anniversary edition of Richard Borg's Liar's Dice from L4 Studios and Mr. B Games. Let's do it! Alright everyone, Richard Borg's Liar's Dice is a game for 2 to 6 players, and this game is truly a classic. It has been around for 30 years, and in this 30th anniversary edition released from Mr. B Games and L4 Studios, there's some really high quality components. We're going to take a look, we're going to learn how to play. And the game opens from the front just like that. Inside we have 6 high quality shaker cups. Those are nice, they're durable. 6 of those. We have 31 dice. There's a red die in there. We're going to find out how that works, but the rest of the dice are used for the players to shake in their cups and lie about. And then finally we have a rubber mat to go with our game and our instructions. So that is it that comes in the game. You've got your cups, your dice, your mat, and your instructions. That is all you need to get playing this game. So we're going to take a look at just how you play Liar's Dice. Alright, first things first, we're going to get out our mat here. Pretty nice, right? Alright, as a quick summary, Liar's Dice is played in rounds. Each round, players roll their dice, an opening bid is made, and bidding continues until a bid is challenged and the challenge is resolved. When a challenge is resolved, some players will lose their dice. Once a player has lost all their dice, that player is out of the game. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is the setup. During the setup, each player takes 5 yellow dice. The red die is used to place bids on the bidding track. This is the bidding track. Each of these spaces are bidding spaces, and when a bid is raised, it goes clockwise around the track. The blank spaces are number bid spaces, and the star spaces are wild bid spaces. Last but not least, on the mat here we have these squares, which are called lost dice squares. That is where people will put the dice that they lose. Alright, so now each player has their dice. We're going to go ahead and start learning how to play the game. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to play with 3 players. The first step is easy. It's called roll those bones. Each player takes their 5 dice in their shaker cup, shakes it up, and then bangs it down in front of them. It's important here not to show your opponents what you rolled. So when you tip up your cup to look, make sure you're covering it with your hands too. Now the next thing we're going to do is open with a bid. In the first round, the oldest player gets to place the first bid. You can declare any amount of numbers or wild stars as your opening bid. There are 2 types of bids, number bids and wild star bids. A number bid is a claim that revealing all of the dice in play, including your opponent's, will show a particular bid number. All matching dice and wild star dice, your dice as well as your opponent's, count toward that number bid. When a number bid is being made, all dice that have a wild star showing will match the number that was bid. For example, if I were to put a 4 face up in the number 5 unstarred space, it means that I am betting that there are at least 5 4s showing under these cups. Now wild star bids are pretty much the same thing, except that when you're bidding a wild star, it will only count the wild stars that are showing under the cups. For example, if I put a wild star face up on the wild star bidding space, it means that I believe that there are going to be at least 3 wild stars showing. After the opening bid is made, we move on to the third step: bluff, bluster, and raise. After the oldest player has made the opening bid, play continues to the left. The next player going clockwise has 2 options. They can either raise the bid, or they can challenge the bid. When it is your turn, there is no passing. You must raise or challenge the bid. Raising the bid is where the strategy really starts to come into play, because you have to keep in mind what has already been bid by other players and what you know is under your own cup. You can raise the bid in a few different ways. If the bid is already on say a 2 on the 7 space, you can raise the number on the die and leave it on the 7. Another way to raise the bid is by moving it clockwise to any higher number, and then you can change the face to any side you want. Finally, you can move the red die to any higher wild star space in the clockwise direction, placing the wild star face up. The other thing you can do other than raising the bid is challenging the bid. If you don't think that there are enough yellow dice on the table showing the face of the previous bid, you can challenge them by saying, "I doubt it," or "I call," or "I challenge." If somebody challenges a bidder, we move on to the resolving a challenge phase. Resolving any challenge will end the round. When somebody is challenged, everyone lifts their dice cups and reveal what dice faces are showing. Then they count up how many dice faces match the current bid. In this example, somebody bid that there were at least 6 threes. After revealing all the dice, you can count that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actual dice, and then 1, 2 wild star dice that count as threes in this situation, meaning that there are actually 8 threes showing. During the resolve a challenge phase, people will lose dice, and here's how you figure out who loses them. If the actual amount of dice is more than the bid, then the challenger loses. In this case, there are 8 threes instead of 6, so the challenger would be the one to lose dice. If the actual amount of dice is less than the bid, then the bidder loses. If the actual number of dice were the exact same as the bid, then everybody loses 1 die except for the bidder. When you lose dice as the result of a challenge, you lose the difference between the actual dice and the bid being made. After a challenge has been resolved and there are still more than 1 player in the game, a new round begins. Everybody loads their dice and rolls again, and the winner of the last challenge gets to place the opening bid. One of the special rules that are added to the Liar's Dice game is the show and re-roll rule. With the show and re-roll rule, once somebody has rolled their dice, they're allowed to take any number of dice that they wish outside of the cup, revealing it to everybody, and re-roll the rest of their dice. This is a good strategy because no matter what the bid is, you get to save those 2 dice. Then there's the final die hard rule. This is the rule that states you cannot lose your last die due to losing a challenge where the dice match the bid, unless you were the person challenging. So, if I only had 1 yellow die left, and the bid was 3 threes, if it's revealed that all the dice on the table show exactly 3 threes, as long as I wasn't the person challenging, I'm not out of the game yet. Last but not least, you win the game by being the last person left with dice. The first of a couple of optional rules is the doubter's natural. If you roll and by some miracle all 5 of your dice are showing the exact same face, lift your cup and reveal it to your opponents, who all then have to lose 1 die. You can lose your last die by somebody revealing the doubter's natural. The second optional rule is casino play. In casino play, every player places 6 coins in the middle of the game board. Anytime a player loses 1 or more dice, the player that caused the dice loss gets to collect 1 coin for each lost die. The player that wins the game collects the remaining coins. And that is how you play the classic game of Liar's Dice. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And remember that Richard Borg's Liar's Dice, the 30th anniversary edition, is available from Funagain.com. If you have any questions or comments about Liar's Dice, please leave them in the comments section below or send us an email at customerservice@funagain.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe right here on YouTube for more unboxing videos, how to play videos, and much more.